Again. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to Key Signatures Day. Now, in every piece of music, we have something that's called a key. And you know how on our keyboard we have a whole bunch of different letters? What are the letters? How many letters do we have on the keyboard? In the musical alphabet, how many letters? 7. Yes. Do we need to go back and review the entire course? I hope not. Okay, 7 letters. And nice and loud so that Robo can hear you. What are those 7 letters?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Bravo. So 7 letters. So that means that we can have an A major, a B major, a C major, a D major, an E major, an F major, and a G major. We can have an A flat major, a B flat major, a C flat major, a D flat major, an E flat major, F flat major, G flat major. We can have a C sharp major, F sharp major. I think that's it for sharps, off the top of my head. So the reason why this is important is because depending on what key you are in, you are going to have sharps and flats. And we've talked like just a little tiny bit about sharps and flats. And before I completely unpack sharps and flats and scales and keys and all of that for you, I'm just going to teach you the rules for key signatures first. So we're going to kind of do things out of order because learning the key signatures is so important that when we talk about the rest of the class today, understanding key signatures will actually make a big difference. So, a key signature, seeing the board? Yes. A key signature, you will find it at the beginning of a piece of music. It's always right here at the beginning. And so you might have something that looks like this, okay? And the key signature, once you learn how to figure out what the key signature is, you'll be able to know what key your music is in. And the reason why that's important is because some instruments are tuned to certain keys. So for example, if you have a little penny whistle, you can get a penny whistle that's tuned in G or D. And so you need to look in the music to see what key it's in to know which music will work with your penny whistle that's in G or D or whatever. Vocalists will learn what their vocal range is and they'll know what keys they can sing in. And then they can look for music that's in the key of their vocal range. So knowing how to figure out what the key is by looking at the key signature is really important. Now, before I even tell you what this is, I need to teach you a sentence. It goes like this. I know you can't see this, and that's okay. You just need to know that it's here. So here's the sentence. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. What does this tell us? It tells us so much stuff, like a million things. Well, maybe not a million things, maybe like 12 things it tells us. The first thing it tells us is, that felt good, is the order of the sharps this way. If we go this way, it tells us the order of the sharps. So, these are sharps here. How many sharps do we see? 4. So these sharps are F, C, G, and D. And if you were to look, every good ballerina deserves fudge. If it's in a space, use your F-A-C. Every good ballerina deserves fudge, plus 1 is G, and every good ballerina deserves F, C, G, and D. Father Charles goes down. Okay? So it means you don't have to go through all that rigmarole of naming the sharps. They will always, always, always be written in this order. So if you see 7 sharps, you don't even have to read them. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it will be F, C, G, D, A, E, and B in that order. This never changes. Now, the other thing it tells us, we're going to start a new song here. What do we call these things? It's the opposite of sharp. Flat. So these are sharps and these are flats. Okay? Sharps raise a note up 1 step on the keyboard, and flats raise them down 1 step on the keyboard. But that's what this is. That's coming a little bit later. So we now have, how many flats do we have? 5. Check this out. If we go this way, it tells us the order of the flats. So if we have 5 flats, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B, E, A, D, and G. B, E, A, D, and G. Okay? So that's what this tells us. It tells us whatever the sharps are this way and whatever the sharps are that way. Okay? Everybody close your eyes. I can see you. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. I'm going to start the sentence and you're going to finish it. Let's see how well you've been paying attention. Father Charles. Very good. Okay, you can open your eyes. So, how do we now figure out what key we're in? We have more fancy little rules that teach us that. Here is how you figure out what the key is if you have sharps. What you do is this pink felt. I've seen better days. What haven't I used yet? We'll use this. What you do, you go to the last sharp and you add 1 letter in the alphabet. Not this sentence, just in the regular alphabet. So this last sharp is a D. D. What's 1 note up from D? E. This is in E major. It's that simple. When I was a kid, my theory teacher just made us memorize them with flashcards. My sister and I, it took us hours. It took us weeks to memorize them. Or you can just use a rule that makes sense and then you'll never forget it, okay? To figure out now the flats, all you do is you go to the second to last flat. Here's the last flat. Here's the second to last flat. And you just, whatever the name of that flat is the name of the key. That's simple. That's a B-E-A-D. This is D flat major. Okay? So, let's check to see how well you understand. Okay, let's do this. All right. So let's go through and we will do this one first. How many flats do we have? 4. How do we figure out what 4 flats that is? Do we go like this? Every good ballerina. Does anybody have time for that? I mean, I don't. I'll be like retired by the time you figure it out. So what we need to do is use the sentence. Do we go this way or this way for flats? We go backwards, right? And how many are there?
4.
Okay, now, Satwinder, are you here today? Satwinder, can you tell me what the 4 flats are? Correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, B, E, A, and D. Now, to figure out the key, we go to the second to last flat, not the last flat, but the second to last flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the second to last flat on all of these, except for this one. We'll come back to this sassy sausage here. I don't know why I said sassy sausage, it's just an alliteration. Okay, so now, what's the name of this flat? A flat. So this is A flat major. What's the name of this flat here? E. So the name of this flat is E flat, not E. E is a letter. This flat is E flat. So this is E flat major. Make sense? Now, with the sharps, just go to the last sharp. Whatever the last sharp is, figure out what it is and go up 1 letter in the alphabet. So, remind me of your name?
Navneet.
Navneet. So Navneet, how many sharps do we have?
2.
2. What are they?
F and C.
So this is what sharp?
C.
C. What's C? Oh, that looks like E. C plus 1.
D.
D major. Excellent. Remind me?
Gurnash.
Ganesh? Okay. Ganesh, how many sharps do we have? 5. What are they?
F, C, G, D, E.
Right. Father Charles goes down and. So this is an A. What's 1 note up from A? This is B major. Okay. Prince, right. Prince, how many sharps do we have?
3.
What are they?
F, C.
Right. Father Charles goes. So this is what sharp?
G. G plus 1.
G.
G plus 1. D.
G plus 1
A.
is A major. Correct. You're welcome. All right. So this isn't tricky. You just have to be able to remember the rule. And in music theory, you're going to learn like 20 different rules, and then you just have to remember which rule or sentence goes with which thing. And that's why we do the homework, because the homework will, in your brain, connect an activity with a rule, connect an activity with a sentence. And if you do it enough times, it'll become automatic. Okay? So, let's talk about this one here. This is the exception to the rule. For superstar status, who can tell me why this is the exception to the rule? I'm like one of those wobble things that sits on your dashboard. You know, it's got the little, do you guys know what this is? Yeah? Okay, I don't know why I'm doing that. It feels good. It's a good stretch. Okay. What's the rule for naming a key with flats? You go to the, not the last flat, but the second to last flat. Is there a second to last flat here?
No.
No, there's only 1 flat. So you can't have a second to last flat. So this one doesn't work. This one And what is this flat? B. Okay? So everybody say nice and loud and sassy, B flat.
B flat.
F major.
F major.
B flat.
B flat.
F major.
F major.
B flat.
B flat.
F major.
F major.
Okay? B flat is what?
F major.
What does F major have?
B flat.
Good. Now the other one that doesn't fit in here is if there's no sharps and no flats, that's C major. So C major is kind of like home base. There's no sharps or flats in C major. Okay, so does everybody kind of get this? Bree?
Just wanted to double check, you're saying second to last for the flats?
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how those are all second to last.
Oh, okay. So we have, it goes in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It goes like that. Because we go from left to right. And if we were to draw all 7 sharps and flats, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. So if you say the sentence backwards, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. But you don't really need to know that because you can just write it down on your page, right? So here is how the sharps go. It has to be the sharps that you see. So the first sharp is F. We know that this is also an F, but you can't put it here. It has to be consistent because as musicians, we memorize our key signatures, and if you put them in the wrong place, it confuses us, and then our sight reading is diminished. Our ability to read music is diminished if you change the rules. So we always start at the top, and it makes a zigzag. Down, up, down, and then down, up, down. Sounds like it's like in a panic, right? It's like, ah, oh, ah. It's a squeaky pen today. And then, so there's basically like down, up, down, and then we go down, up, down. In the flats, it's even easier because it's just a constant zigzag. So we go up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay? And in the bass clef, you basically just move this whole thing down one line. I'm gonna run out of space here, but I'll show you what I mean. Oh gosh! So if we're in the bass clef, see how the F starts on this line? If you were to just grab this whole thing and move it down one line, it would look like this. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Oh, it still sees me. Hello. And then you just grab this whole thing and move it down a step. So now instead of being on the middle line, we're on the second line. B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. You can see that the pattern is the same. And then we keep going down, down, and in this case we go up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay? Because I don't know if any of you have figured this out yet, but the notes in the treble clef, if you just move them down one line, they're the same in the bass clef. So if that's an F, that's an F. If that's a C, that's a C. Okay? So, that's essentially everything you need to know about key signatures. this sentence, this order, and you guys are going to practice doing this a whole bunch today, but I'm just running all of the rules by you, has to go in this order. And the rule is, if it's got sharps, you go to the last sharp and go up one step in the alphabet, and that's the name of the key. With flats, you go to the second to last flat, and whatever the name of that flat is the name of the key. Okay? So this is an E, that's an E flat, this is E flat major. Now, there's a couple of times where there's a little confusing thing that we got to add on to that. So I'm just gonna extend this. When you have keys that have a whole lot of sharps, F, C, G, D, A, and E, you will sometimes have to add one more layer. And so I'm just going to walk you through it. So first things first, Claire. I'm picking on the front row today. You're welcome. So Claire, how many sharps do we see?
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what are they?
F, C, G, D, A, E.
Correct. Now to find the name of this key, what do we do?
Take the last note.
Go to the, here I'm going to erase F major. So go to the last sharp. What is the name of this sharp?
E.
Father Charles goes down and ends. Correct. E. What do we do with the E?
You add 1.
E plus 1 equals
F.
F. But can this be F major? Nuh-uh, because what does F sharp have? B flat. F sharp, B flat. F sharp has B flat. If you see B flat, it's F sharp. So these can't be the same key. I'm going to show you what key it is. It's actually F sharp major. Who can tell me why it's F sharp major? I know that one of you knows the answer. Okay, let me ask you this. What's the key signature of F sharp major? Somebody say it out loud. Oh God, have I failed? Have I completely failed all of you? So this is the key signature of F sharp major. What's the key signature of F sharp major? Say it out loud. F, correct. What's the first sharp in F sharp major? F sharp. F sharp major has an F sharp in it. So if it has an F sharp, it has to be F sharp in the name. This first sharp is F, and because there's a sharp in the name, the key is going to have F sharp in it. And if the name is F, it has to be F sharp major. Does that make sense? Because in a piece of music that's an F sharp major, every F will be sharp. Every C will be sharp. Every G will be sharp. Every single D, A, and E will all be sharp. And that's what the key signature tells us. It tells us that in this entire 30-page score, every F, C, G, D, A, and E is a sharp. We don't write it down in the music. You just have to remember it in your brain. Because if we were to write down all these sharps in the score would be covered in sharps, and it would be really hard to read. Because all that you would see is basically a sharp on every single note. So to make that easier, we put the key signature at the beginning once, and then we train our brain to remember when I play in F sharp major, all of those sharps, all of those notes are sharps. F, C, G, D, A, E. Okay? So hopefully that mostly makes sense to you. We're going to go into the book and do a little bit of exercise so that you can see it on a more practical level. Any questions about key signatures or how to name them? All right, excellent work. I'm going to turn this off. Shazam!